after we were angry, we realized that this was our fault. Our kids were not learning about money in a cashless world. And Annie and I, we were both experiencing the same thing. We looked around, we couldn't really find any programs on the market that were age appropriate, fun, or that really helped kids understand money besides just getting a debit card, which I don't think is the first step in the process. So we got started and we decided to make a solution. And so
Hey y'all, Katie here, and welcome to Make Dollars Make Sense with special guests Annie and Nicole with My First Nest Egg. Here we share information that'll help you teach your child financial literacy. Join us here once per month on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Mom Nation Talk Radio or on YouTube, and our handle is @MomNationUSA. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, it is Real Estate Katie. I am back. Happy 2023. I am so excited because this is our very first show of our new series called Make Dollars Make Sense. And I have some very, very special individuals with me on today. I am so excited, like my whole body's buzzing to talk with you ladies. I am so excited to dive into your story and start to teach our audience and our audience's kiddos a bit about financial literacy, because it's like a big deal and they don't teach you squat in school. I'm sorry, but you certainly don't learn enough. I didn't anyway. Did you ladies?
No, learned nothing.
Right? Absolutely nothing. We learned how to spend and we learned how to get ourselves into credit card debt. And that's about all I got from way back then. But I'd like to introduce formally Annie and Nicole with My First Nest Egg. Welcome to the show. And thank you so much for your time today.
thanks for having us. We're so excited to be on with you and we love your show. And so we're really excited to be a part of this program format and talking about money. It's something really dear to both of our hearts. We're moms in our mid-40s. We have 7 kids between us, all 12 and under.
Oh boy.
And yeah, so there's a few of them. And we really fell into teaching kids about money because of an experience that we had. And March of 2020 rolled around, and like everyone else, we were normal parents, jobs, everything else. And then the kids came home from school. And it was one of those moments where we had this incredible education about our children and the things that they did not know and did not do well. And for us, we learned our kids weren't particularly helpful. And at the base of that is they didn't understand money at all. We couldn't even bribe them to be helpful. We found a dollar bill in the lint filter. And after we were angry, we realized that this was our fault. Our kids were not learning about money in a cashless world. And Annie and I, we were both experiencing the same thing. We looked around, we couldn't really find any programs on the market that were age appropriate, fun, or that really helped kids understand money besides just getting a debit card, which I don't think is the first step in the process. So we got started and we decided to make a solution. And so this is a second career for both of us, and we're really excited.
I love it. Well, as you know, I have an 8-year-old boy, soon to be 9. So I'm kind of right there with you, except for I only have one. That's it. But I ran into the same thing where he honestly doesn't care. I'm like, dude, do your chores, get your homework done, pick up after the dog, whatever it is that you have to do. And you're going to make like $1 today or $2. That's so cool, right? Doesn't care. So then I met you guys and your app came into our lives and it has changed things. So can you go just into a little bit of detail just about, learning good habits early, kind of what you guys have learned through your research, and just kind of start us there, if you would.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Most parents actually don't start talking to their kids about money until kids are 15 years old. That is statistically how it is in this country. And truly, people in the US would rather talk about anything other than money. In fact, studies have shown that they'd rather talk about drugs, sex, politics, relationship issues before they talk about money. So we're creating this void in our children's lives that is being filled by other places, by advertisements, by other peers at school. It is not the values that we want to impart. So when we started digging into this, I think the stat that really stuck out for us the most is that financial habits are set by age 7. By 7 years old, children's financial habits can be completely set. And then after that, you're sort of kind of working on breaking bad habits. And our goal, everything we do, is to help families create good habits before they have to start breaking the bad ones.
Yeah, that just sounds so much easier and so much less less heartache,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Think about going through and having a habit that just is a negative impact on your life or your situation. So I could totally appreciate that. So so then the app came about.
Yeah, so Annie and I, neither one of us had a tech background. I was a business attorney for about 18 years, and Annie was a prosecutor, prosecuting murders and all the bad guys out there. And we really were like, at this point, we're two moms, we can figure out how to make this happen. And so we really, with a very lean methodology in building our company, we started just creating the most basic of basic app. And we would send it out to our friends and say, hey, try this out. It's a digital piggy bank. Hey, try this out. There's some chores on here. And over the course of 18 months, with all of our friends testing it, and then at one point we had like 80 people testing, we had finally figured out like, okay, these are some really easy ways to get kids motivated to do chores. We brought a behavioral psychologist on our board who really helped us inform like how to make this something that really built good habits right from the start. And one of the things she said to us was that achievement and depression were inversely related. And so we really were like, how do we give kids the opportunity to achieve again? We don't ask them to do enough chores. We don't ask them to do all these things. So we really wanted to inspire parents to say, like, this is good for your kids in the long run. They might complain about it, but this actually makes them happier. So really at the foundation of this, we're moms trying to make our kids happier in the long run by making them do their chores. So it's a chore and allowance app and a digital piggy bank, all in one, really with a focus on mental wellness.
And it makes everybody happy. So, and we all know when mama's happy, everybody's happy. So that's good. I do love the setup. So my son and I, thank you very much. We did download the app when we chatted with you guys a couple of weeks ago, and we've been playing with it ever since. And I love the way it's broken down into and they can visualize this, right? So it's broken down into money that is their savings, then their spend account, and then their giving account. So can you explain kind of the mindset behind all those three categories? And then I'll tell you how fun it is on our end to have those three categories.
Well, it's very interesting. It's the concept of budgeting, which of course everybody needs to figure out at some point in life, but it's so much easier if you just start from the get-go learning how to budget, which means you get some money in, and then you have to figure out how to disperse it to the different pots of money. So this idea of having some for fun, right? Especially for kids, they need money now. Like if they want to go to an arcade or if they want to rent a video, it's very good for them to have their own money. We send these kids off and we expect them to learn how to use money in the real world when we haven't given them those opportunities at home because we buy everything for them. So it's fantastic to give them some money to start to learn how to use on their own to spend. And then the second one is save. And one of the things we do on our app is that we give parents the opportunity to put interest into the children's savings accounts every single month. So you can set an interest rate, and it just very slowly through experience introduces the idea of compound interest. Once a month, when they look in their account, they see, hey, look, I made some money just by saving money. And then finally, giving. People who give are much more likely to be happy, 40% more likely to be happy in life. And so it is such an important part. So kids not only in our app have the opportunity to budget some money to give, but they also can see their acts of kindness and track every act of kindness they do and community service hours. And that creates this really cool generosity loop, because when you think of kind things you did and generous things you did, you're more likely to do another kind or generous thing. So by keeping track of it so that they can see it, it creates this momentum going forward where they will be kinder and more generous in the future.
I love it. And it actually works hand in hand. I don't know if you ladies know this, but maybe don't. My kid's in martial arts and he gets homework once a month from his sensei. And the homework that came back, this was so crazy because it lined right up when we got the app. But the homework that came back was basically a tally of things to do every day. So like,
I love
yeah,
it.
it was like
Awesome.
eat good food, you know, practice your karate, you know, and then one of them was perform a random act of kindness. So it actually goes hand in hand with the app. And then he gets super excited when he can log it on both.
Yeah.
Because kids like to log stuff. Kids like to be
Yeah.
like, yes, I did it.
Well, and to that point, kids they have a slight competitive nature to them. And even when it comes to doing chores or everything else, I mean, we see kids competing for Roblox. And so one of the aspects of our app is we have a community page and leaderboard where kids get to see the community around them and see how many chores other kids are doing in the course of a month, how many acts of kindness. If they're putting away money into savings, we never focus on the amount, but just the act of saving itself. And we really like to reward that. And so these boards reset monthly, so everybody always has a shot of getting to the top. But we know our 10-year-old boys, they're out there seeing who's been making their bed the most often. And we had one mom tell us that her son was actually like lurking at 5 a.m. because he had already made his bed and was trying to figure out other chores so he could go to school and be at the top of the leaderboard. So it's a really funny thing. But we've just tried to gamify good habits, healthy habits. And how do we make them something they internalize? We make it fun. We make it a positive experience right from the beginning.
Super smart. I mean, you know, we're seeing gamifying happen, for instance, in my particular adult world with working out, right?
Yeah.
And I get
Yeah.
so excited when I've lifted the 1,000,000th pound and I get this little award. And, you know, so it's kind of the same sort of thing. And I love it. And you're right. And my son gets so excited to be able to log things. The second thing that he gets really excited about and he wants to look at it all the time is the save section. So, you know, where you can add in the interest and he can watch it grow just by saving. So we recently just emptied out the piggy bank. We do that every, you know, couple of times a year. And he was so excited to go to the bank and to deposit his money and to get his new balance and add it to his app. And anyway, it's been really, really cool getting it incorporated into our everyday life. And I think that your vision for the app is definitely something that's happening on the other end. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
And I love what you said there about going to the bank, because that was really our goal with creating this app, because kids don't have the experience like they used to. They used to go to the bank with their parents. They used to bring lunch money to school. They used to have all of these experiences with money, but now the world is becoming cashless. Yeah. And so how do we give kids those experiences in a cashless world? That is what we're determined to do with this app and with our program. And we're busy moms. I mean, we are really busy moms. So we both get it for moms out there that it's kind of actually really hard to do these things with your kids. And it's much more difficult to get your kids to do chores than it is just to do them yourself. Like I would rather make my child's bed than nag him a million times to make his bed. But every single study out there says that it's so good for kids to do these things. It's good for them to experience money. It's good for them to do their chores. So what we've tried to do is make it as easy as possible for parents to teach these lessons early.
And kudos, because you did. I remember prior to this app, like, what do we call that? BA, before app? So before app, I don't carry cash. Like who does? You know, we're in a cashless world. So my kid would lo and behold do his chore and I'd have to pay the guy. And I'm like, well, pulling out the fabric out of my pockets, like, I don't have any cash. Let me find a random piece of paper and write it down like an IOU. And so that ended up getting kind of confusing and overwhelming to handle because I never had the cash in order to pay my bills, my kid. So now I just pull out the app, bloop, 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 and away we go. It's really convenient.
I don't know about you, but for my kids, their balances only went up. And they always seem to forget all the times that they spent money. They always remembered when I owed them money. And so now we actually get to see the up and down. And I love that they feel the pain of spending. And it's had a real impact, especially on my middle child, who is the spender of the three. He feels it now, and he makes fundamentally different decisions because he hates seeing that amount go down, and he thinks about things a little bit more. And one of the things we're really excited about is just starting those conversations and getting people to talk about it and getting him to think about, you know, oh, are those extra pair of sports socks that important to you? Right. And I think when you have to experience it and feel that money going down, you start to put it in perspective, and that needs and wants conversation really comes to a head.
Yeah, and that's a giant, because I mean, these are kids, they're blank slates, right? We've got to teach them what they need to know. They're not just born knowing these things. And that was something that I realized, BA, before app, that my kid was like, no, I need the 50th stuffed animal. Like, it's okay that I have 49 at home. I need this flying whatever. And so we would have a conversation. Well, you know, where are the other 49 stuffed animals? And what happened to them after you purchased those? It was like just a quick, you know, flash in the pan. And so we started to talk about need versus want. And do you really want to spend your money that you've worked hard on a 50th stuffed animal when you already have 49? So what I love about the app, and maybe you could speak a little bit more to that, is you actually have, so I lie to him and tell him that he has to do the question to unlock and see his balance. Sorry, a little white lie. Us parents, we can do that once in a while, right?
Absolutely.
So he gets excited to answer the questions, and our series of questions so far have been trying to, you know, teach him the difference between need and want. And he gets so excited to do the one question and then get to see his balance. So can you speak a little bit to that part of the app?
Yes, absolutely. So because we're moms, we know that kids have kind of short attention spans, especially when you're trying to teach them something. But we know financial education is really important. So we built it into the app. One, there's the habit forming aspect of seeing money and doing chores, but also there's one question per day. It's a little quiz. It's really fun. They are written by educator who works with children. And it's just one question per day that starts with needs versus wants and goes through the rest of the Jumpstart and Center for Economic Education curriculum. It's proprietary to us. It's only one question a day. It's actually all you can do. You can't move past that. And when they answer this question, it gives them a little pop-up that explains the answer to them. And it's a great conversation starter. We get text messages from parents who say, hey, my child is doing the question. And then we had a whole conversation about needs and wants. Or another thing is opportunity cost. So that's something you kind of work into. And we talk to kids about choices, but this plays big time into economics. It's called opportunity cost. That's great that you want your 100th stuffed animal, but you have to understand that when you go to the basketball game that night with me, you're not going to be able to buy a soda. Right. So it's the idea that when you buy one thing, you give up something else. And that is so important as we get older to understand that. So then they don't just start forking over plastic and being like, yeah, that's fine. I can have them both because look, I have a credit card. So it's learning to forego one thing if you want another thing. And if they can build that early, they're less likely to get into debt to pay for the second.
Makes so much sense. Man, do I wish I had you ladies when I was growing up.
Me too. I wish I had us when we were growing up before I signed on all. I mean, truly, most of what Nicole and I do is based on mistakes. I mean, so much is just based on mistakes we made when we were younger that we wish we could go back in time and teach our younger selves. But then we had kids and we realized, oh my goodness, we are not teaching them from our mistakes. So how can we teach them and at the same time teach all their friends as well?
Absolutely. I love it, ladies. Is there anything else that you would like to add about the app or kind of about the beginnings or just forming good early habits in general? Anything else that we didn't cover that we should?
I think I just want to tell your users how to find the app. We're in the App Store and the Google Play Store, My First Nest Egg, and we will make a code for all your users. I'm thinking Mom Nation would be a good one, and then they'll be able to get on the app for free. And all we ask in return is we would just love feedback.
Awesome. Yes. And I will actually drop that with the show notes so that there's a link to it. And I will put that offer code on there. So then that way It's just super easy access. And then also, do you prefer to be followed Facebook, Instagram? What's your
Instagram, I would say is
Instagram. You guys,
best way to follow
yours.
us.
It's awesome. It's the first one that I see. You guys are the first post that I see whenever I open Instagram.
Oh, great.
All right, ladies. Well, so nice to have you on again, guys. My First Nest Egg. Go on over into your app store. Check them out. It has made a world of difference in my house, and we have only been on it for just a couple of weeks. And my kid, it takes them a minute to kind of get into routine. So we are getting there, and I'm sure I will have a lot more feedback for you as the months go and the years go. And my kiddo learns that he doesn't need the 50th, stuffed animal, because that's great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.